Hello everyone, hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is David and today we're gonna look at my Diablo 4 build that I managed to put together throughout this first Diablo 4 beta that we have. It's a rogue build which focuses on high mobility and high burst damage. We're gonna go over the skills of my choice, why I picked them, and the items that I got and why I used them. I'm gonna go quite deep into all the reasons, so bear with me. Or at least as deep as I understand them. Of course, I can have the wrong information. If you find something that you disagree with, please drop it in the comment. The first skill that we have is Blade Shift. It's a basic skill and a cutthroat skill, which you can see on the tags right here. Tags are very convenient in this game and they're quite important, so try and keep track of those. It generates 1 combo point. It has a lucky hit chance of 36. We don't really care about the lucky hit chance. I did not think we had enough time or could do enough investment, or we didn't have enough skill points either to try and scale lucky hit. You could probably make a lucky hit build with this build with lucky hit scaling, but I decided to not go that route. It quickly stabs your victim for 15% damage scaling, and shift, allowing you to move freely through enemies for 3 seconds. This is incredibly nice as we are a melee character. We can not get body blocked by hordes of enemies when we decide to jump into them and get stuck and die. So big up from this in particular. The modifiers are also very nice. First off, we have while Blade Shift is active, you gain 15% to all non-physical resistance and reduce the duration of incoming control impairing effects by 20%. Also very nice, damage reduction is always welcome, and reduced crowd control, you know, we hate being frozen, let's be that less often. Or at less time. The second part though is the big one. Damaging an enemy with Blade Shift grants 5% movement speed while Blade Shift is active up to 20%. This is super nice as you get this at level 3. You have to take 2 points in your basic skills before you can get to the next part of the tree. Meaning that we get this one at level 3 and we keep it until forever. Because it's very good. We also attack more than once every 3 seconds, so having this 100% uptime is not a problem. Let's go to our core skill. Our core skill of choice is Twisting Blades. I read this skill, like the first core skill that I read once I leveled 4, and I decided to not look at any of the other ones, because this one was so good, so I didn't feel a need to look at anything else, honestly. It is a core skill, imbuable, and again, cutthroat. Energy cost 30, which is a cost. It's not really a problem unless you spam it, which you really shouldn't. But yeah, lucky hit chance 34. We don't really care about lucky hit, we don't scale lucky hit, so yeah. It reads, impaling an enemy with your blades, dealing 63% weapon scaling. Damaging an enemy make them take 8% more damage. It's a multiplier by the X. Increased, yeah, so while they are impaled, they take 8% more damage. After 1.5 seconds, the blades return to you, piercing enemies for 110% damage scaling. Meaning that this skill, currently at rank 5, if you don't have any plus skills on your items, has a base damage scaling of 164%. Now we get to the combo points. Our basic skills generated combo points, and our maximum is 3. If we use combo points, if we use Twisting Blades while we have combo points, we gain more damage and movement speed. 60% movement speed is again huge, mobility is king, and the 120% damage from 3 combo points is actually not 120. I believe it's 140%. The reason being that the 120 is applied on both the initial stab and the return damage, giving us around 400% weapon scaling or damage scaling if we use it on 3 common points, which is very, very good compared to our 15% which we had on the first basic skill. So 400%, very good. Modifiers. When twisting blades return, your active cooldowns are reduced by 1 second per enemy they pass through. This is the deal breaker. I read this one and that's when I decided to stop reading anything else and pick this one. I love having low cooldowns, and combined with having a lots of mobility skills, it's just unbeatable in my opinion. The second part is twisting blades deal 30% increased damage while returning. This is also nice, just more damage, and it is damage on the return, which is the higher damage scaling of this skill, which is always nice. Very, very good skill. Shadow Steps is our first agility skill. As I said, it's agility, it's also imbuable, and it has the cutthroat tag. It has a 9 seconds cooldown, a lucky hit chance of 100, which is, I guess, nice, and we become unstoppable and quickly move through the shadows to stab your victim from behind, dealing 72% damage scaling and gain 50% increased movement speed for 2 seconds afterwards. Oof. More movement speed, very big. Also, the unstoppable part here makes us, it gives us the option to get out of crowd control and pairing effects. If you are frozen, for example, you can instantly use this skill to dash or teleport, I would say, to another target and be freed from the freezing effect. Very big. We are not wanting to be locked down and get hit. We are melee, so if we get stun locked, we can use this skill to quickly get out of there. The second skill, I forgot to read the modifiers. Let's go there first. Damaging an enemy with Shadow Steps increase your crit strike chance against them by 8% for 3 seconds. Getting more crit chance is always nice. It's equivalent to more damage, so can't go wrong with that. Shadow Steps cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds when it damages an enemy you haven't hit with Shadow Step in the last 4 seconds. It has a cooldown of 9, so as long as we don't use it on the same target, again, more than once every 4 seconds, it has a 6-second cooldown instead. Very nice. Our second agility skill, which I picked up because I love mobility, is Dash. It's also imbuable and a cutthroat skill. It has 2 charges, which is very nice, and a cooldown per charge of 9 seconds. Lucky hit chance 26, it's a little lower, but again, we don't really care about lucky hit, and it does a damage scaling of 44. It's not a lot of damage, but it's damage nonetheless. Enemies damaged by Dash take 20% increased crit strike damage. Oof. We are trying to get crit chance and crit damage, so this is just 20% more damage when we crit. So more damage. Very nice. We get to our subterfuge skills. Not sure if I pronounced that right, but this is one of our only, you could say, pure defensive skills. The mobility skills can always be counted as defensive. We can use them to get out of danger, but this one gives us straight up damage reduction. Surround yourself with up to 5 protective shadows, gaining currently 10.4 damage reduction per active shadow. The damage is reduced and a shadow is consumed. Each time you take a direct hit, the damage is reduced and the shadow is consumed. This means that if we use it, we have 5 shadows. The first hit is reduced by around 50%. The second hit would then be reduced by 40%, 30%, 20%, and 10%, so on, until we have lost all of them. And yeah. The modifiers is shadows have 10% chance to not be consumed. This one doesn't proc very often. 10% is it's like, I'm not sure how to calculate this one because it's 50%, but 10%, but it applies 5 times because we have time. Yeah, and so on and so forth. It's not amazing, but yeah. Each active shadow from Dark Shroud grants 3% movement speed. So you see, by this point, I love movement speed. So having this one active just when we roam around the map, having 15% permanent movement speed, we don't have to hit anything, we just constantly have it. Unless we get hit, of course, but we are trying to not get hit. We get to our imbuements. So we are rocking Shadow Imbuement. I would say Shadow Imbuement is probably, it's not the most powerful. I can see lots of reason to use the other one. We don't get really any more single target damage. We could use the poison one to get more single target. We could use the ice one to freeze and have more defensive layers, but this one gives us clear speed. The reason why, it has a 9-second cooldown. We don't care about the lucky hit chance, but it imbues our weapon with festering shadows. Your next 2 imbuable skills deal shadow damage and infect the enemies for 6 seconds. Infected enemies explode on death, dealing 48% damage scaling to all surrounding enemies. If the infection expires before it dies, it deals the same damage, but only to that enemy. So I guess it's some single target, but it's like not really why we use it. The modifiers though, you have 25% increased crit strike chance against injured enemies affected by Shadow Imbuement. So when we hit something with our skill, let's take our Twisting Blades for example, we imbue the skill, we stab with the Twisting Blades, and from that point onward, if they are under 35% HP, they have 25% increased crit strike chance against them. Also, Shadow Imbuement Primary Explosion, which I'm guessing is just the explosion, if something dies, makes enemies vulnerable for 2 seconds. This is very nice when bosses spawn ads or when we clear a pack. Most elite monsters have a pack around them. We clear the little pack, the high value target gets vulnerable and takes 20% more damage. Very, very nice. Also, as this explodes in an area around, this gives us amazing clear speed and quality of life. Because we take the shadow imbuement, we can also pick up consuming shadows. We take 1 point before it in the other skill, which gives us a little stun chance with lucky hit, but we don't really care about that, so we only get it just for the consuming shadows. Each time you kill an enemy with shadow damage, you generate 10 energy, and this is more than enough when we are mapping or dungeoning, and we don't really need it, because yeah, we can just spam a lot more often, and we don't really have to care about energy. It's just quality of life, very nice to have. The 1 point is more than enough, I felt, for me. Yes, I also want to mention that we pick up the passive point exploit. You deal 18% multiplier, increased damage to healthy enemies and injured enemies. Healthy being over 80% life, and injured being below 35% life, meaning that the first hit we deal 80% more damage, and when they're low we get an execute of 18% more damage. This is very, very big. This is all for our skills at the moment. We did not have any more skill points to put anywhere else, so let's get over to our items. First off, I want to show you my main dagger. This is what made this combination of skills extremely powerful, because we are using Twisting Blades. This imprint, the legendary effect of this item, reads the following. Twisting Blades orbit for a short time after they return to you, dealing 12% of the Twisting Blades return damage per hit. Based on the distance the blade returned, the orbit damage increase up to currently 24 of the return damage. So remember that the return damage was the big damage value of the Twisting Blades. which works very nicely on this one. I would probably want to put this on our two-handed spot so we can get mega value of the legendary effect. I fortunately did not think about that until after the beta. The item itself also gives us crit damage, which is very nice. It gives us basic attack skill damage and vulnerable damage. Our next dagger is also very good. I'll go over the stats first. It gets damage to close enemies, very good. Damage to dazed enemies, very good. Some stats, basic attack, skill damage, very good. And some more dexterity, very good. Good stats overall. Imprint, I put on attacking enemies with basic skills, increase the damage of your next core skill cast by 10% up to 50. This one is huge for our build and for many others. If you find this legendary effect, save it. It is extremely powerful. This means that if we attack 3 times, which we are gonna do anyways, because we wanna stack our combo points with our basic skill, we are gonna get 30% more damage additional outside from our combo points additional damage. And up to 50 if we attack 2 more times, which we're gonna have very high attack speed, so we might as well do 2 more attacks. And we also put an emerald in there just to get some more crit strike damage occasionally. To our first ring, we get some resistance, some poisons and shadow. We get physical damage, which works on our basic attacks. We get vulnerable damage, which is very good for us. We do make enemies vulnerable. We want more crit damage because we want to do high numbers. And the lucky hit chance is fluff, but killing a vulnerable enemy grants you 54% increased energy regen for 4 seconds, up to 75. This one I got kind of late, so I did not really feel the impact of this item, but I'm guessing it's very nice because we can just do a lot more abilities. Then we have our second ring. Fire resist, shadow resist, good resist I guess. Vulnerable damage, very good. Shadow damage, very good. Physical damage, I like it. And crit strike damage, very good. This was a very good ring that I found very late. I think it was from my last butcher kill I got this one actually. Basic skill grants 32% increased attack speed. Oof, this is just very nice. So as long as we we can stack even faster now is what I'm trying to say. Our necklace gives us all resists, total armor, plus rank to all subterfuge skills. It's good. Healing received, it's not a lot, and the damage is always nice to get. Your critically strikes with core skills increase your attack speed by 5.7, 57% for 3 seconds. This is also huge. So after we use our twisting blades and we get a crit from the twisting blades, we have 57% more attack speed. This is very good for our build because we do want to attack and stack those combo points and stack those extra damage from our dagger. So this is gonna increase our damage output by a lot. Also, just more attacks mean that our shifting blades get to do more damage more often. It's just good. Our bow, not the best bow. I could have definitely changed to something else. We do get a lot of dexterity. I think about half of my dexterity came from this item in particular. We also get some close damage to close range enemies. Very good. And the legendary effect, yeah, I'm not sure how well it performed. I think it can definitely be good if you have a higher lucky hit chance. Yeah, but it's something. Our boots gives us +1 maximum evade charge. This is very nice. It works similar to our dash. We can use one, have one on cooldown, and still have one up to use whenever we feel threatened. It gives us movement speed, 7.5%. Everyone knows that you want movement speed on your boots. It also gives us +2 ranks to dash, which is amazing because it lowers the cooldown of dash. more dashes. Imprint, you automatically drop a smoke grenade at the end of dash. The cooldown is reduced by 0.32 seconds for each enemy dazed, this way up to 1 second. Dazing is incredibly powerful, so getting a free daze on an ability that did not originally have it is mwah, love it. Then we have our leggings, the pants. Get some intelligence, gives us more crit chance, it gives ranks to Dark Shroud, which is more defensive layers, more damage reduction, increased healing, that's not really anything, but the imprint that I put on these, I had on my legs before, I just swapped them over to this rare pair that I found. So you heal for 7.5 life per second for each close enemy up to 44 life per second. This one is really broken early game, I have to say. It's really good early game. If you find these, definitely save them. I could almost stand still next to everything except for maybe a few very powerful bosses and with the butcher. But the rest of the game I could almost just completely ignore if they were surrounding me, because I was healing so much. Very good leggings, very good legendary effect. Our gloves, very happy with what we found here. We got some attack speed, we got dexterity, we got crit strike chance, all very good stats for us. The imprint, you have 221 increased crit strike chance against injured enemies. While you are healthy, you gain 43 increased crowd control duration. So if we, for example, dash into someone, we daze them for 43% longer, and when they get low, they take, or we have 21% increased crit chance, which is a big number. Our armor chest piece gives us lots of armor, damage reduction to distant enemies. We are melee again, so all the ranged enemies do less damage to us. Very nice. Damage to cutthroat skills shows you that you can get cutthroat damage on items just as you can get shadow damage. Very good for our damage, for our build. And some 3% damage reduction, just overall very good. The imprint that I put on this one is becoming injured while crowd control grants you unstoppable for 4 seconds. This effect has a 40-second cooldown. I hate the fact that in some games you get CC'd all the way until you die and you don't get to do anything because you're just stuck in, you're being frozen or stunned or rooted, or you just can't do anything. This one completely stops that. If we become injured while we are frozen, for example, we are free to go and do whatever we want. And lastly, we have our helmet. +2 rank to shadow imbuement. This gives us more clear, just more quality of life. It also gives us some resistance, fire, cold. We don't really care about that right now. It's such a low level, but it's gonna be nicer later. And basic skills grant 25% increased or reduced damage reduction. Oh yeah, I'm getting tired, I'm sorry. For 6 seconds. Very big, just damage reduction is always welcome. Well, that was it for all the skills and all the abilities. I hope you have enjoyed, I hope you've learned something. If you enjoyed, please feel free to drop a like and comment. Please subscribe. I hope to see you guys on the beta this weekend. I'm looking forward to playing the Necromancer and seeing what we can create there. I'm streaming on YouTube, fortunately, just so I can get my shit recorded. But until then, everyone, take care, have a good day, bye bye.